And it is Jolé Gabrielle and John Drew of Elevated Planet. Thank you so much for joining us for today's YouTube Live. And John, we'll take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Jolé. Thank you, everybody, for turning up today. And great to be back. It's that was another of our versions of the intro using the Song of Hope again from our friends Louise and Kate. But again, trying to experiment with different imagery and at the same time shut it down a bit from the longer video from before. But I think we're going to mix and match this stuff now. It's just have a bit of fun with it. Okay, one of the things I'm going to just mention up front so I don't forget it for later. For next week, we have Barbara Jean Lindsay live with us, who is an internationally acclaimed psychic, and she has a list as long as your arm of various things she's done. She's an author of several books, of which one of which I'm reading right now. And it is an interesting story to tell. And obviously, she also went through a near-death experience. We saw a little bit of this about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Maybe not even that long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we went through this, one of the videos with her. So really excited to have Barbara Jean with us next week. Then I also wanted to talk briefly about the Shack, because that's something that we introduced last week. It really is, honestly, one of the most moving, the most moving movie and meaningful movie that I have ever seen, in my opinion. And just for the record, we ran a poll asking people to vote, because we know it's a movie that polarizes. You know, the most popular vote was typically like 78% was voting 5-star, but the second most popular vote was actually 1-star at 14%. So it's one which you can understand, you know, some people just don't like it at all for whatever reasons they may have. But when we ran the poll this week, we got 100% of respondents giving it 5 stars, which certainly matches with my opinion of it. But Jolé, tell us what you thought to the movie and the fact that you were up in Oregon this week.
Yes, I was in Portland, Oregon for the week, and that place is everything that you can imagine it to be. It's just one of the most beautiful places, I believe, on the West Coast, just with its lushness. And just, I really like the vibe. And I also love it's called Multnomah Falls, I think.
Right.
Or Multnomah Falls.
Okay.
Falls. Okay, Multnomah Falls. And it is gorgeous, and a very beautiful vibration down there, which I can understand why the Shack would utilize that part of the world as a place, because it's so abundant and it gives so much. And the movie does the same. It can really help us let go of some of these things that we are experiencing, letting ourselves off the hook. But you see how that movie showed us the how, or in some ways, one version of the how, which is still maybe a little bit elusive, but at the same time, there were steps on how to get there. And that's what I enjoyed about that movie, is the devolving down into nothingness in order to rebuild into something that is much more lasting. And that's what we at Elevated Planet are all about. Or you could look at it lasting, meaning expansive. He was able to come back and illuminate and heal his daughter. And his wife was always a beacon of light. But, the world just changed. And I loved the way that she maintained that buoy, or that feminine energy of just being rooted and grounded in her family, and being able to, I guess, be the lighthouse or the North Star for where we all need to get back to.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful film.
Oh.
5 stars over here.
Yeah, me too. But the good news is we weren't the only 2 who voted, so
yes,
we were more representative than that. But yeah, no, I agree with you, and certainly in terms of the location, Portland was always one of my favorite cities to work. I worked around that way for 10 or 11 years, Pacific Northwest, up in Portland and Seattle, amongst other places. I used to love going up there. It just feel like God's country in a way. It's just like so expansive and beautiful and unspoiled.
I mean, America is gorgeous, but you get to see the abundance of Mother Earth and how Mother Earth just gives and gives and gives and doesn't stop giving. And Portland and those, that part of the Pacific Northwest really manifests the abundance that's out there for us to take hold of and to do something with and create. There's such a beautiful creative community up there as well. A lot of artisans and do-it-yourselfers,
Yeah.
really trailblazers with food and all these other things. It's beautiful.
I think people get inspired when they're in nature. I think it's more than being stuck in the energy of a city, which can be, quite high energy, but it also can be relatively toxic in some ways. So it's always good to get a balance. But yeah, no, and in terms of the movie itself, yeah, the characters were wonderful. It's not an easy movie to watch. It is really challenging in some ways. But at the same time, the story is told in a brilliant way. And I do think that the reason that the author was able to write the book that way was because he was not as part of the mainstream civilization for the first 10 years of his life. It enabled him to see life from a different perspective and to write from a different perspective. So yeah, excellent. But we're going to keep the vote open on that. So if anybody does get a chance to watch The Shack, Netflix over here in the UK, Hulu over in the US, apparently you can get that free to view, and certainly you can rent it for a modest sum on Amazon as well. So again, if you haven't seen it yet, give yourself a treat and see what you're thinking, but do let us know. Is it a 5-star? Is it a 1-star? Or will you be one of those rare people who votes it for 2, 3, or 4?
Yeah.
We'll see. So, okay, that's great. Now, in terms of where we are taking our discussion today, we have, there's something there's a blog that I wrote, and I was telling Jolé about this, and we've decided we're going to feature a little bit of this within this, in terms of, I haven't released the blog yet. I wrote it at the end of August. And it's about, let me just get it. I'll get it in front of me, and you'll be able to see the reflection of it in my glasses. So bear with me a second. So called The Wisdom of Uncertainty and the Empowerment of Impermanence. And basically, I'll just read you a little bit of it. And then we'll talk around 1 or 2 of these pieces, but I will launch this sometime soon. But I'm always curious to explore spiritual philosophies, and I've discovered it can reinforce certain universal values that often run contrary to the way we live our westernized lives today. And certainly I talk about the 3 foundational beliefs of Buddhism, which is karma, rebirth, and impermanence. And I know I've already covered off certain ones of those in Twiglet Zone and various other blogs. But impermanence is the point of focus for this particular piece. And it tells us impermanence from a Buddhist philosophy perspective tells us that change is a natural part of life, therefore not to be feared. However, our westernized programming and conditioning encourages us to fear change and seek safety. We have been trained to fear the unknown as it keeps us easier to control. We have become addicted to safety and comfort, and like many addictions, it leaves us feeling unfulfilled. This is because an obsession with safety and comfort overrides our connection to the vibrant energy field, which represents that field of all possibilities. So, and the fact is, we're all, made of energy, right? We are all energy and vibrating at a certain frequency. So when we talk about energy being in a constant state of change and us trying to secure it and make it stay where it is, it doesn't really truly align with reality. And because part of that Buddhist philosophy aligns perfectly with universal law. The 8th law is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This law tells us that energy is always moving and always changing, and we and everything around us is made of energy. Then the 11th universal law is the law of rhythm. And this law tells us that nothing is permanent, yet we're kind of like always trying to seek that level of permanence. And again, just to continue a little bit further, if we then turn to the 7 spiritual laws of success, the 6th law is the law of detachment. Amongst many other things, it teaches us of the wisdom of uncertainty. Uncertainty is where pure creativity and freedom lies. This law talks to the fun of life in the field of all possibilities and the joy of spontaneity. So that's kind of where we're starting with this. But, you know, you'll notice that within the piece itself, we do talk about like a control agenda that sits behind that. And I know that some of the things we're going to focus on today are going to be very much around that kind of theme. So, Jolé, what do you think?
Very good. I personally really want to extend to everyone just knowing that it is not your fault. John touched on it, and we're programmed and we're conditioned to sort of be batteries for some type of energy system, which, you know, we're all trying to work out. What is it exactly? Some people call it archon, some people call it all sorts of things. But what we know is we see children who are filled with life be put into a system, and then we all come ground out wondering what's wrong with us, when it's actually not us that is the problem. So I want to just tell you guys, let yourself off the hook, forgive yourself, because what you have experienced and what we're all experiencing is not our fault. So when you're depressed and anxious, that's something you need to give back or give to Mother Earth, because it really doesn't belong to you. It's not yours, and you have permission to let it go. So why do we need to unplug? This is a question we need to answer. In order for us to be able, I believe, to elevate the planet, we have to know what we're up against. We have to know what's been hidden, and we've got to know how to get back on the path of remembering.
Yeah.
And so we want to give you a little bit of science behind all of this, you know, woo-woo we talk about. And so right now, there's a lady by the name of Michelle Gibson, who is a very well-researched historian. You know, she might not have run through the regular channels, but her research is unmatched in many ways. So we're going to look at a little bit of her and just lay it on the table for you. And there's some words you might want to start to research as you after this show, which is the mud flood and the Crystal Palace of 1851, along with the Great Reset. These are some of the things to take a look at.
Mm-hmm. Paint a picture. If tomorrow, if somebody were to disclose our true history, paint a picture of how this world would react.
So much has been kept from us. Money, technology, our true history. Some things that I've come to believe is that the original order of society was turned upside down. I believe we've been the subjects of a vast human and social engineering project, not for our best interest, but that of other beings. That the positive life-enhancing planetary grid system was reverse engineered into a control system. Great exhibitions, expositions, and world fairs, starting in with the Crystal Palace exhibition of 1851, were showcasing the technology and architectural wonders of the original civilization before being hidden away or forever destroyed. And 1851 was the same year that the prime meridian of the Earth was moved to the Royal Observatory in Greenwich.
Before you talk about the Pyramid of Giza being changed to the Greenwich, let's stay with the 1851, the exhibition, the World Exhibition. This is fascinating. That place was burnt down to the ground.
Well, not only that, they moved it. It's this humongous, if you look a picture of the Crystal Palace, it is huge. It was 3 times the size of St. Paul Cathedral is what they tell us. And St. Paul's Cathedral looks like the Washington Capitol, the capital of Washington, D.C., the U.S. Capitol building. It looks just like it.
Was that the new burning of the Library of Alexandria, in your opinion?
Oh, goodness knows what they've done with all the history, besides secreting it underneath the Vatican. But
not anyway, a lot of people know about this event. I just learned it from you, from your research, and I've been thinking, you know, all these stuff that you're bringing out that I've kind of heard here and there, but this place, it burnt down, so all that information just ceased to exist. Is this a time when the powers that want to be decided, enough, we cannot continue disclosing this information?
I just think they wanted it gone. And I think it was highly sophisticated. So they tell us they moved the Crystal Palace to this other place. They said it was in Hyde Park, and they moved it to another place in London. And then at some point in the future, it burned down. And that happened to a lot of things got burned down, destroyed, demolished. So I think I see that particular exhibition in London in 1851 as the official kickoff of this new timeline. Let's call it the New World Order timeline, where they exhibited all these things. It was said to have been built like right before the exhibition by a greenhouse builder, Sir Joseph Paxton. And all of these people came, and it was wildly successful. And from the proceeds of it, they were able to build like the Natural History Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum, and I think there was one other. Okay, so a recurring theme with regards to World's Fairs and expositions like this in the next 100 years or so is that it was all meant to be temporary, and then they took it down when they were done. And we're talking colossal architecture, massive, massive architecture. And again, I've got some work that I've done on that, but if you even look up World Fairs and expositions starting in 1851 and look it up yourself, the architecture is mind-blowing.
I've been to one, 1984 in New Orleans, loved it, and I wish I could continue, but I believe they canceled all the World Expos now.
I looked it up when I was doing the research for that particular blog post, and they've had some, I think there was one in Kazakhstan not too long ago. They've had some up until the present day, but I would say the first 100 years of expositions were almost like a bye-bye to this original technology. As a matter of fact, I was talking about the World's Fair in Philadelphia, and I want to say it was in 1876 or something, where there was a coreless engine, steam engine that was showcased that was powering the machinery hall. And I had 3 different views of it, and somebody commented that it looked like a Vimana, which is an Indian.
Yeah.
So, I'm just thinking they're claiming credit or giving credit to other people about the architecture of these World's Fairs before they get rid of it. And like I said, there's very few structures left standing from these first 100 years worth of World Fairs and expositions.
So what do you think they discussed or what they included in that 1851 expo?
I think they had the technology of the original civilization there.
So you think that the technology did not get lost as we're told?
Correct. I mean, we're talking about a very deliberate, malevolent, hostile takeover of the planetary grid system and humanity.
So, yeah, there you have it. So Michelle has done an awful lot of research, and what we will do is provide links to these videos. So for the curious who want to see the full or listen to the full interview, and it is very in-depth, and she has taken her science on this very seriously. So for those left-brainers out there who like a little bit of proof and a little bit of steering on this stuff, yeah, I think you'll get a lot out of this. But Jolé, you led me to this, and how did you find out about this? What's your perception of this?
Well, I know when I began, where my story begins here is before I became a healer and clairvoyant and doing all of this, this is where I began, because I felt like, what is wrong? Like I felt a really huge, like I was out of alignment with something, or something was out of alignment with me. And so I began to dig deep into history, and it led me to Jordan Maxwell, may he rest in peace. And it led me to certain authors that said, hey, wake up. You have been lied to. You have been deceived, and it's time that you know what's going on. And from there, I was really excited, and I would dig deep into these conspiracy so-called theories, but which we know are truths. And something inside me, the spirit goes, look, if you're going to continue to go down this road, you're going to find exactly what you want. You can either be a part of the problem or a part of the solution. So I pivoted into healing and clairvoyance and the light. But this was my journey. And that's why I am here. And I want to put it on the table for people, because once you get outraged with, it's not my fault, this isn't me, oh my God, I've been programmed, these symbols, all this, now you can go ahead and say, let me let this go, because the fear will disappear. Because once you think it's you, you're blocked. But once you realize, wait a second, something's going on here, you can then begin to take responsibility to clean it up. It's odd how that works. When you feel the overwhelm, it's too much. It's like, did I really do this? I don't remember creating this in my life. Like, I had all the intentions to follow the well-worn path, but along the way, it let me down, right?
Yeah.
So now you're at that crossroads where you have no choice but to move into self-healing and to undo all that has been done by stepping into some truth about yourself and the world around you. And then that's when the forgiveness, the growth, the compassion, and moving back to that ancient technology can begin, because it begins with us. Chakra system is an ancient electrical system in your body that once you know how to work with it, it powers all your organs and your systems and then your personality. And not only that, but your environment. But guess what? It's been cut off from us. So thank you, Michelle. And now we move into how to do it.
Yes. Okay. So that's, that what we'll do is we'll lead into the next video then, which again brings us back to our old friend, the work of Dolores Cannon. This is not her speaking, which, as you all notice, but I'll warn you in advance. This is probably an AI type voice kind of thing here, and he describes a caterpillar as a caterpillar and things like that. It's funny how they'll pick up on certain words and it, like, slightly mispronounce it, but beyond that, there is an awful lot of wisdom in this. So just for this little stretch here, it kind of like goes a little bit deeper into where we're going with this. So just bear with me a second, please.
Some people resist change so vehemently. It often stems from fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of losing control, and fear of stepping out of one's comfort zone can all keep individuals anchored to the 3D reality. Dolores Cannon's teachings encourage us to confront our fears, for they are the shackles that bind us to the past. Imagine for a moment a caterpillar that refuses to undergo metamorphosis into a butterfly. It clings to its old identity, fearing the unknown, and remains trapped in its cocoon. Meanwhile, those caterpillars that embrace the change emerge as beautiful butterflies, soaring to new heights. In much the same way, embracing change and releasing the resistance to it allows us to evolve and flourish. Those holding on to negative energies such as anger, resentment, jealousy, and hatred are heavy burdens that can weigh us down in the 3D earth. Dolores Cannon's work highlights the importance of releasing these toxic emotions and replacing them with love and forgiveness. Negative energies not only affect our personal well-being, but also contribute to the collective energy of the planet. As Earth undergoes its transformation, it becomes essential for individuals to transmute these negative vibrations into positive ones. Those who continue to hold onto and perpetuate negativity may find it challenging to resonate with the higher frequencies of the 5D Earth. Negative emotions are like anchors that keep us tethered to the lower realms of consciousness. When we carry the weight of anger, resentment, or hatred, we are unable to ascend to the higher realms where love, joy, and unity prevail. Letting go of these negative energies is akin to cutting the cords that bind us to the past, allowing us to rise to new heights of consciousness. Those attached to materialism, in the third-dimensional world, materialism and the pursuit of wealth, possessions, and status often take center stage. Dolores Cannon's teachings remind us that the true treasures of existence lie within our hearts and souls. While there's nothing inherently wrong with material success, an excessive attachment to it can hinder our spiritual growth. In the 5D Earth, the emphasis shifts from external wealth to internal abundance, spiritual growth, love, compassion, and connection. Those who remain fixated on accumulating material possessions at the expense of their inner development may struggle to adapt to the higher vibrational frequencies of the new Earth. those lacking self-awareness. Self-awareness is the key to personal transformation. Dolores Cannon's work encourages us to embark on a journey of self-discovery, to explore the depths of our own consciousness. Those who remain unaware of their thoughts, emotions, and beliefs may find it challenging to navigate the shifting energies of the earth. Self-awareness is not just about knowing ourselves on a surface level. It's about diving deep into our subconscious mind, uncovering past traumas, and healing old wounds. Those who resist this introspective journey may find themselves stuck in the patterns of the 3D Earth. Think of self-awareness as a lantern in the darkness, illuminating the hidden corners of our psyche. Without it, we stumble blindly through life, reacting to external circumstances without understanding the internal forces at play. By shining the light of awareness on our inner landscape, we gain the power to transform ourselves and create a brighter future. Those holding onto egoic identity, the ego, with its need for validation, control, and dominance, is a prominent feature of the third-dimensional world. Dolores Cannon's teachings highlight the importance of transcending the ego and aligning with our higher selves. In the 5D Earth, the ego takes a back seat and the soul takes the lead. It's a place where we recognize our interconnectedness with all of creation and operate from a place of love and compassion. Those who are deeply entrenched in their egoic identities, constantly seeking external validation and power, may struggle to adapt to this new paradigm. Imagine two individuals, one who derives their sense of self-worth from external accolades, and another who finds their worth within, rooted in a deep sense of inner peace and love. The former is like a ship tossed about on the stormy seas of external validation, while the latter is a sturdy vessel anchored in the calm waters of self-acceptance. The new Earth is not a distant, unreachable destination. It's a state of consciousness that is accessible to all who choose to align with its energies. It's a reality where love, compassion, unity, and spiritual growth are paramount. It's a world where the limitations of the ego dissolve and the soul shines brightly. So, how can you ensure that you are not left behind, but rather are a part of this beautiful transformation?
Now, just before we carry on with this, Jolé, I just wanted to share with you, Janet has been contributing in her usual way with really deep stuff. And Janet was saying, I have been drawn to a great reset in 1800s. Tartaria keeps coming up.
Yes.
Mud flows, beautiful buildings, destroyed thousands of bells with
Yes.
healing frequency, destroyed amazing buildings, babies, farms, and incubators to repopulate. These buildings that survive are amazing. And she also said all the buildings used free either electricity, so they can have a population that can create and live in harmony. It's sad that it was reset.
Exactly. Wow, Janet, that's amazing. And they talk about how these fireplaces, they were not meant for wood. They were actually an energetic conduction system that was able to connect with the grid and the earth. And each person was able to connect to this and have heat moving through their homes. And all of these things like Lalibela, they think that that is an underground Christian church, right? But maybe it wasn't underground. Maybe it was, the mud flood or the Great Reset came. So there's a lot of these buildings and this energy that we do no longer have access to. So it's time for you to go, you know what? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. It's my environment that needs fixing. So, but in order to do that, you've got to look at that part of you that is connected to the divine and break down all of that programming that covers it. And that's why John and I are here, is to help you peel away the onion one layer at a time, because it takes time and it takes work. Many people have, I guess, paved the road. There's Byron Katie. There is so many people that can help you do the work, from who you are today to who you are trying to get to, or who you want to be, or at your core, who you truly are. And that's what we're here to sort of do. Get that cooking, get that fire burning, and burn off all of that trauma and dysfunction that has been given to you, just like they're poisoning your food, your water. What's to make you think they aren't doing that to your spirit, your psyche? So let's wake up together.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. And interesting as well, talking about psyche. There's a magazine that one of our community is creating, actually, Tracy Matthewman, our good friend. And we're going to have a large piece in that as well. So I'm looking forward to that and helping to promote that when the time is right. I'm going to just flash very briefly back to the blog just as we go forward, because certain other sections within this, because, you know, like getting to this thing of, you were talking about conspiracy theories, and it was something that I really pushed back against for the first couple of years that I was on this journey, because I thought, no, it can't be true. You know, this is our reality. This is the way it's supposed to be. And the more you just kind of got into this, the more you realize how we've been misled, how we've been brainwashed into this version of reality, which drags us through into this fearful state, which means we can then be controlled. Now, coming back to this blog, I'm just going to read another little section, and I will release this over the next, I don't know, I might even do it tomorrow, but we'll see. The rigid framework of safety that we're encouraged to accept as our reality keeps us small, living a half-life. Why are we encouraged to think this way? The answer is because as a population, we are much easier to control when we are taught to be fearful of change. A rigid framework is also where much of the religious doctrine takes us also. Once again, narrowing our field of possibilities, it is a control mechanism. Now, here's a really important point. We are living in a time of great change. What we have witnessed in recent times with the pandemic and other control agendas is the tip of the iceberg. Over the coming decades, those who are unable to live with impermanence or are unwilling to embrace the wisdom of uncertainty could find life very challenging. But I do believe, and again, I go on to say that I think that, you know, when push comes to shove, people will find an inner strength that they don't even realize that they have right now because they haven't needed it. And I then go on to say much of this rising to greatness aspect was covered in our Elevated Planet blog, Ain't Nobody Here But Us Chickens. And here's the extract, which is, it's like we're all chickens on a battery farm with the opportunity to go free range. Some of us chickens will refuse to believe that a world exists outside of our pen. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what sort of chicken am I? So, you know, this is to cope with the forthcoming changes. New awareness and consciousness needs to birth on the planet. We have to awaken from our mortal slumber. Presently, there are those who have set out to dampen down our evolution of humanity, while there are others who are trying to free it. Tumultuous times await as the war for consciousness plays out, as play out it must. And we don't know what the shape of it is going to take yet. And one of the things it could be would be the false flag invasion by the powerful, illegal, secret government we've been warned about for many years by Dr. Stephen Greer. We've seen the documentation. We know it was a plan, and it is still out there. If this does transpire, our skies could be filled with man-made alien reproduction vehicles, which many people don't even realize exists. They've been reverse engineered from downed ET vehicles. This will be made all the more convincing by genetically manufactured ET beings who will appear to threaten mankind. So, you know, that's just part of what I've discovered to be true. And it sounds fantastic. A lot of people will just kind of struggle to believe that. But this next video is going to cover this point as well. So I think it's just nice to kind of tee that up. What do you think, Jolé?
Oh, no, I'm just thinking that, you know, I just want to lay on the table again that for people to know that it starts within, you know, dropping the self-hate, the self-deprecation, the resentment, the regrets in your life about what you've done and what this energy has led you in some ways to do, although you must take responsibility for what your life looks like. So hopefully with Dolores Cannon and the meditation, we can let go of some of this fear and bring in and get closer to who we truly are.
Yes. one of the things we're going to do when we do your meditation is going to put on that image of the emotional spiral, which we've used a few times before, and is part of this blog, which I've been reading a little bits and pieces from as well. The emotional spiral, which has all the ascending kind of attributes, which take you all the way from hopefulness up to unconditional love, 100% integrity. Or you go onto the descending scale and it takes you to unworthiness, shame, guilt, apathy, no will to live, fear, pessimism, judgment, self-pity, jealousy. You know, this we know, right? We know where the negative aspects of this is, but it's good to have it there. And again, I'll make sure that we get that image in front of us for the meditation, because this is where we are looking to ascend up that emotional spiral individually, so that we can kind of, you know, step back into our power. I think that's the key thing.
Yes.
So should we go to the little clip that we have, which is a video that we showed going back a few weeks ago, but we only got into the first 20 minutes. This was the very last section. But again, it comes back to this this thing where I was just talking about that bullet point, which kind of suggests that there are alien beings out there. Right? How crazy is that? Well, I think we're going to find out, but it's the reality, as far as I'm concerned, that is reality. And I'm excited about it, and there's very good reasons to be excited about it. And Dolores always, as always, says it best. So I am going to click the button and put us onto that one. Right, we're back again. So, you know, I am a big fan of Dolores's work. I mean, she's, you know, I've learned so much through her. And that last section was from the Convoluted Universe series of a series of 5 books. I think she's got 19 books in total. But honestly, these things, to my mind, and I know some people will think I'm deluded, represent truth. You know, this is where we need to get out of the conditioning and the programming, realizing that there are communication methods that have been coming forth that actually give us a real picture on what is going on out there, and the fact that we have been manipulated. And Jolé, before we just carry on for a second, because we have Janet again, you know. So I don't
Thank
worry.
you, Janet.
I love that Janet's comments coming through, because she's kind of like so deep into this world.
Yeah.
And she says, I love that I'm guided to this information at the correct time. Thank you for your guidance. Conspiracy theories are actually the truth. LOL. She says, once you take the red pill, there is no going back, with a big laughing face. The universe points you to awaken, and it's very hard to readjust from the conditioning when you do. You have no fear. There is only love. And that is exactly right. You know, to me, that is just nail on the head, because, you know, my journey here began because of my daughter, Stephanie, right? She was the one who gave me my first messages that came through a psychic medium, which then encouraged me to go and get it. And Stephanie's been on this journey with me throughout. And in fact, I think she's over in LA now as part of our audience. And she did insist that she said that this program should be all about her. So I thought I'd better give her a mention. But Jolé, what do you think?
I think Dolores Cannon is a really great place to begin. And for some of you that are like, wow, this is overwhelming, take it in bite-sized pieces. And especially if you believe in a higher power, ask the higher power to reveal it to you. I don't know if you guys remember that beautiful poem, Footsteps, that talks about how that energy that they call the Messiah, Jesus, Yahshua, it's like the person's having hard times and they say, well, where were you? And he was like, well, or the energy's like, well, I picked you up and carried you. So it's like, believe that the universe is, at the end of the day, is going to lead you and guide you where you need to be, because part of the problem is the intuition has been shut off. So that's what we're here to help you move into with our meditations and what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that said, then, shall we step into the meditation then, Jolé?
Yeah. Yes, we shall. We have about 13 minutes and I will make it worth your while. Let's do this. All right. So just to begin breathing, always begin breathing, get comfortable in your own skin, you know, wiggle your hips and your sit bones, Make sure your feet are flat on the floor. For those of you who are laying down, just put your feet flat on the floor for the beginning part of this meditation. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness into your chest cavity, your anahata. And today we're going to ground and meditate in a way that's going to be releasing fear and bringing in more of what serves us and allows us to connect and conduct with Mother Earth. So just like Tesla's alternating current was a great way to power, it's one of the ways we use to this day. We're going to send our energy down into Mother Earth and we're going to have it come back up. And we're going to be part and parcel of that nurturing energy and that communication from Mother Earth to us and out to other humans in the environment at large. So as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, I want you to create, visualize, and imagine a grounding cord that starts in your heart, or a portal 6 inches in diameter and of a natural earth element. So today, why don't we play with the energy of electricity? So as you create this grounding cord, you're going to create something that conducts electricity, whatever that is, of a natural fiber. So maybe we imagine our grounding cord as that of copper or any metal that you feel conducts energy. Or maybe you're saying, I don't know what that is. So visualize and create and imagine the wires that you see becoming a grounding cord, but it is of a natural fiber from Mother Earth, creating this all the way down as it moves through the chair, through the floor, through the crust, and as it begins to move through the lithosphere of Mother Earth, it picks up speed. Moving through the asthenosphere, it roots itself in the core of Mother Earth. And now with this grounding cord, I want you to see, create, generate, and imagine a coil surrounding this grounding cord, a coil of positive creative life force energy. So first, how do we get that energy? We're going to open our crown like we would the lens of a camera. And we're going to call the energy down from the ether, this golden divine life force energy, representative of the creator of all that is, comes cascading down into the crown as it fills up our cranium, all the folds, all the neurons, new way of thinking, new way of doing things, removing that bad attitude, removing that negativity, that lack of creative thought, blocks, moving, any issues, moving in the eyes, the eyebrow, the adenoids, the sinuses, all the way down. It focuses itself down into your neck as it lights up each vertebra on its way down to your heart. And then it begins to create this divine coil. And as it goes down, 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 down into the core of Mother Earth, as it wraps around your portal or grounding cord, it becomes tighter and tighter to when it gets to the roots, it's not suffocating, but it is right up against the roots, allowing for this energy of Mother Earth to conduct all that positivity, all that loving life force energy. And so this coil around you is not only connecting with Mother Earth, but then it's harnessing that energetic grid. It's calling in that energy, that ancient wisdom and that knowledge from Mother Earth, feeding that coil around. As you send loving vibrations down your grounding cord to Mother Earth, she sends it back up, and that coil around you pulls in all that wisdom and that knowledge from the ancients. So now let that happen as that alternating current of love from you to Mother Earth just keeps moving and moving and moving from your heart down to Mother Earth, from Mother Earth up into your heart. This alternating current of love feeds the soil around you, and this divine golden life force energy pulls in that wisdom. As now you bring your awareness into your sit bones or your hips, that first chakra, Muladhara. And here is where fear sits when we are out of alignment with our highest self. So turn all the fear in this area of your body, that low back, you got that pain there, the hips, anything, that lack of mobility, flexibility, those issues with the stomach, those problems, it's time to let them go. So what do? We turn it bright red. We allow for it to come into that grounding cord, and that energy flushes it down into Mother Earth. Give her that energy. To her, she can turn it into love and send it right back to you as positive, creative life force energy, allowing for you to work out any blocks, any negativity, any fear, and all of that gold light, all of that information and energy from the masters are coming down into you and recycling and cycling itself in that grounding cord portal where that energy of divine life force energy encompasses that beautiful grounding cord, powering you. And I know you're like, whoa, that's a lot, but I want you to visualize that being what powers you. And no more mind parasites and no more vampires, because once you start aligning with the electricity of divinity, that frequency, they can't survive. So connect with Mother Earth, send that loving vibration down, she sends it back up. You wrap yourself in that gold divine light of the divine creator of all that is, and you just get all that wisdom, that knowledge, that love, that understanding, that interconnectedness that allows for you to get back to you, who and what you truly are, opening up that intuition to call in those messages from the divine and unplug from all that no longer serves you. Take a deep breath in. We're going to stay connected, but we're going to go ahead and close our crown. Take another deep breath in, exhale, connect with your heart, see that energy moving, and stay connected all day and let that energy move through your environment in the highest and best way with grace and ease. Take another deep breath in, exhale, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely.
Right on point again, keeping the theme going.
Good. I'm glad. We got 5 minutes left. I'm so glad. Just this little brief meditation sometimes, just the whole thing. I can just remind you to connect. And I didn't do it, but I want you guys to do it. Call your higher self above you, your astral body snapped in, your aura layers 1.5 feet around you. You clean out the center of your head. You're ready to move.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I think it's important because it's kind of realizing that all the wisdom we ever need lies within, and this is accessing who we really are, and it's not reaching out externally for all this. There's some good stuff out there, there's stuff you can learn, but there's a lot of nonsense as well, right? There's a lot of misinformation as well as a lot of information. So if it's guiding you towards fear, then I think you can kind of safely regard that as misinformation for the most part.
Correct. If it fails to resonate, it's not you. And your chakras are a filtration system along with your higher self. So that energy that you may be calling in, it's going to be filtered through what works for you. And the negative goes into Mother Earth to recycle. So always remember that. We cannot handle humans, people's anger, violence, and emotions. So create something to where you can give that to Mother Earth and be free to love. Yeah.
And Janet passes on her gratitude as well for the meditation. But yeah, I think that is really so important. It's kind of realizing that we have these, and again, meditation is one of those things that, again, speaking as a left brainer, it's just something that I never would have found time for. And I did find it as a struggle for a while, except for certain guided meditations would really transform me, made me realize, wow, there is something to this. And that's why I think guided meditations like this are very powerful, because if you try and do it for yourself initially in the early days, it can be a real challenge to get over monkey mind and all those kind of things as you're you sort of like your thoughts disappearing off all over the place and you can't really get anywhere with it. But guided meditations and visualizations are so important, because the visualization aspect of it is, helping you to re-access that imagination that again gets suppressed a lot, right? We learn things rote from, education, but we're not necessarily encouraged to be daydreaming and all the rest of it. Daydreaming is what I used to be really good at. So it used to say on my school reports anyway. But yeah, it's but again, once you start to access that and you can build these pictures in your mind, you can actually feel the energy that it brings in, and also expel the energy that you no longer require.
Exactly. And one of the things that helps this process along is asking questions, getting really curious about why does this really work, and asking the universe to send you signs that this is the right direction. Because once you align with that energy, it will come. So we always, I know for me, for so long, even now, I poo-poo on synchronicities or coincidences or things in my life that may be similar. I go, whatever. But that is the universe talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
So pay attention.
Yeah, it is. And it's incredible. And sometimes some of these synchronicities, they just make me burst out laughing because they're just so ridiculous that it couldn't possibly be coincidence. But, in years past, I would have kind of ignored it. But it's once you are flowing with the vibrational flow of the universe, then you start manifesting things faster and things start coming to you. And then that gives you the confidence to go deeper into it. And life becomes a joy. And honestly, my life is a joy. I love doing this elevated planet stuff. Jolé, I'm deeply appreciative for the fact that we work together. I'm deeply appreciative for the community we have, and very much with Janet as well, because
Janet,
she's
thank
part of
you.
what we do.
Yes.
So yeah, okay. And so just to sign off then, really, with saying the weekly for tomorrow, I'll put the links to the videos that we've got, as well as obviously we'll have the edited version of this with the clunky bits chopped out. But also the newsletter will have access to the full videos. So those bits and pieces from Michelle Gibson, for instance, that piece we went to in the first place, and the Dolores work as well. You can see whatever parts of that you want to access for yourself, so you can understand it a little bit deeper. And yeah, I think that's pretty much wrapped it up from me. Jolé, what do you think?
I'm just grateful as well, John. I thank you so much for showing up for me and this community. And I just ask that it, grow, and we just keep hopefully waking people up to the power that lies within them.
Indeed. And as Janet says, it's good to be a dreamer, John. So and hearts back to you as well, Janet. So from us. So okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Jolé, and we look forward to seeing you in a week's time when we have Barbara Jean Lindsay. If you have any questions that require a little bit of thought power leaping out there into the future as an internationally acclaimed psychic, I'm sure we'll be able to get some answers. So don't hesitate to drop us a line to johndrew@elevatedplanet.life, and we will be taking that into account next week. So fantastic. Till then, have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.